Adam Day, why have Purplebricks got the lion's share of the online estate agency market?
Money, money. I think they were first mover. I think they were first mover, and they were the first online agent to get a significant cash investment. Um, I genuinely think that if that was Hatched, eMoov, House Network, House Simple, they'd had that amount of injection at the time, they'd have all gone that way as well. No question on mind.
Okay, so but Yope have had even more money.
True.
Well, in the early stages, yeah.
Yeah, they were second movers, and it shows what money can do, but it can't buy you number one. I'm possibly being slightly negative towards Purplebricks, but they've done a great job. You've still got to execute. One of the things I think they did brilliantly was they started up in areas, one area at a time.
A bit like a virus.
Yeah, yes, viral, yeah, something like that. I think they did that brilliantly well. Again, if I had my time again, that's what I'd have done. I'd have done town by town.
Right, so they basically had a lot of money, and then they basically parachuted like the paras into an area, made themselves dominant, and then moved on to the next.
Yeah, and
like a virus.
Exactly, yeah. And in essence, they dominated that area they went into, so therefore they could command more cash because they proved concept. They proved that they could be market leaders. Now, they didn't have to prove profit because they could. You don't have to prove profit nowadays. You just have to prove revenue growth and listing growth.
So what you're saying is, if there's anyone out there wanting to start up their own online estate agency, you don't call yourself nationwide. You basically set off in an area and then basically grow organically from one area, or send the paras in and then grow like little viruses.
Yeah, but that's the same way as you set up a high street agent, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You open an office and you be successful, then you go to the next town and open another office.
So really, what Purplebricks did differently was that they didn't just set up and say, "Hi, we're a nationwide estate agent." They acted like a high street agent,
yeah.
albeit without some high street premises with a piece of glass on.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, and with a load of money to support them in that growth.
What do you think about the way that they charge, and most online agents charge? I know we touched on this briefly in another video. Do you think they would be more successful or less successful if they charged in a more traditional way?
I think they would be less successful because it's not differentiator. Their brand is a differentiator, and their processes and systems and back end area is a differentiator. But charging the same as a traditional agent wouldn't be.
Do you think online estate agents will eventually move to a overall higher wallet share, i.e., they'll take more money from the deal?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah.
Do you think they've gone in low to get buy market share and then slowly move up?
Yeah. That's what all digital startups do. If I look back to, I don't know, lastminute.com in 2002, I booked a holiday on lastminute.com. I know it's slightly insignificant now, that website, but you go on there now and it's the same price as if you book through TUI.
Yes.
The price differential is tiny. It's not worth, but because you enjoy the experience with Last Minute or with Expedia or whoever those online companies are, then you go with them. Amazon, there's a difference in price, but it's not significant. You have to wait a day. I could walk down the shop and pay an extra £2 or £3, yet I still shop on Amazon because I like the experience. I like being able to sit in my lounge knowing that I can just order it and it turns up the next day.
Okay, if you go back 4 or 5 years and look at where the likes of Purplebricks and the other online agents said they would be, they are quite well off the mark. They were reckoning they were going to get 10, 15, 20% market share. Some reports say they're at probably 6 or 7%. I personally think, looking at my stats, they're lower than that. Why do you think there's a mismatch between them thinking they'll be at 20 and whether they're at 3, 4, 5 or 6? It doesn't matter. Why the difference?
So I was one of those that predicted the tipping point in 2017. So I was wrong. Hold my hands up. I can say when I'm wrong.
Where do you think what percentage do they need to get to that tipping point?
16%.
Yes.
Is Maloney's theory of diffusion of innovation. Google it, diffusion of innovation.
It's kind of like a bell graph.
Yeah, it's really clever. Yes. 16%, you go into mass market. And so it's a really interesting question. I work out as about 7.5%, 8% at the moment.
Okay.
So I've tracked for 10 years online agents listings on Zoopla and compared them to Rightmove listings on their house price index.
Yes.
And so I think we projected this year there was 190,000 going to go on with online agents this year, is what I projected back in March, which would be about 7.5%, 8%, based on 1.3 million properties going on Rightmove.
Yes.
Approximately. Now, one thing that I don't think anybody takes into account, now that was the top 10 online agents I did those counts for back in March. And it's been my own personal thing that I've been doing, but I've shared it with the business I've worked in as well.
Well, you've worked for some pretty big online agents. Well, you set up Hatched, which were bought by Connells, EasyProperty, Tepelo, and recently eMoov. So, you've had a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, if you don't mind me saying. So if anyone's going to know, you're going to be the man, so go on.
I'd like to think so. But I think what people aren't considering is the online agents that are based in a town that cover a town. So take Stevenage, for example, town close to me. There's an agent called Agent Hybrid. Guess what he is? He's a hybrid agent or an online agent. On my stats that I did, I looked at Stevenage, and he was the second biggest online estate agent in Stevenage, with a market share of 4 or 5%, whatever it was.
Nothing to sniff at.
No, Purplebricks were the highest. Fair play to them. But he was the second highest, and then all the other players, the national players that you've heard of, the Yopas, the eMoovs, the Tepelos, the EasyProperties, they were all below Agent Hybrid. So I think that those individual one-man band online agents have stunted the growth of the national players, and I also think they've this 7%, and they reduced from 7.6 to 7.4 last month, and all the agents are going, oh, this is the demise of online agents. Well, actually, let's look. What I would suggest to high street agents, look closer to home. Who are those bedroom boys? There are bedroom boys that are pinching, stealing your lunch, as well as the national online agents. And then if you work that out, I reckon it's more like 14, 15%. If you took all them into account as well, I reckon you could double it.
Isn't it funny how estate agents are driving down the road and they see a competitor's board and go, oh, well, missed that one. But as soon as they see like a Purplebricks or an eMoov, they go, ah!
Yeah. Go crazy, don't they?
They do. It's like they get really freaked out by it.
But they they're allowing it to happen because they're not up in their game in terms of service and hand holding.
Do you think high street estate agents have let the likes of Purplebricks get inside their head and they're worrying about them too much?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so again, harping back to the old days, 2007, 8, 9, whatever it was, when we were in Hitchin. So Hatch was based in Hitchin. I'm fairly well known in Hitchin, as were my two business partners, and so we were called out to a lot of properties. Now, we didn't do valuations back then. We just did straight instructions. We said to customers, no, we're not doing valuations. Our fees are so low. You either use us or you use someone else. And people would sign up, by the way, so you don't have to do valuations to get instructions. That was the first lesson I learned. But interestingly, we used to get calls from customers saying, I've had XYZ estate agent out and they've asked me if I'm considering using Hatched. And they said, we weren't, but we looked on your website and we are now. Can you tell me a bit more about it? So even in a micro level, high street agents were talking about us before, and we hadn't even been called out. We'd never even had contact with that person. And we were getting phone calls saying, I wasn't thinking of using you, but I've seen your website, I've looked at your fees, tell me more.
So the high street agents actually creating their own demise,
they were promoting
potentially their own demise.
They were promoting us, yeah.
Amazing.
So I don't know how it works now. I don't know whether a high street agent goes out and says, "Are you thinking of using an online agent?" Because if they're saying that, then they're
or even in their promo, this is what we do compared to online agents.
Exactly, yeah. Just ignore them. Don't ignore them, but don't promote them. Don't assume that everyone's going to get an online agent out.
I mean, the amount of times I've seen agents moaning on websites about the online agents and Purplebricks. Talk about give them free publicity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I revelled in that back in 2010 and 12 when Estate Agents Today and property industry I first came out, and I was the big bad wolf, and then fortunately Russell Quirk came along and he won't mind me saying that. We revelled in that. We revelled in that attention and that because it gave us more PR, it gave more air. More oxygen to our business model.
Good stuff. Probably in the next video, talking about publicity, we could talk about EasyProperty.
Quite possibly.